Hello, it's Dr. Farmer, and I wanted to talk to you all about how to start the class. There are some important points about accessing key features of the class that I wanted to show you guys. So let's start out. If you go to Desire to Learn, enter your password and log in, and then open this class, your first day, you will see this page. Click on week 0, start here, and there will be a welcome video here that will be tailored specifically to this class to welcome you to the class. And then you will have the syllabus here. If you click on the syllabus, you see that it tells us everything that you need to know about what the requirements of the class are, what the point totals are for the class, and how to be successful in the class. If you scroll down the syllabus, you'll see one of the important parts of the syllabus is the discussion requirements. Each week, you're responsible for responding to 2 discussion questions. These discussion questions, not only do you have to answer 2 discussion questions, but you need to go online on 2 different days. In addition to answering those 2 questions, you also have to respond to at least 2 peer threads. All right? So answer 2 questions and then give 2 responses on 2 different days. Your first entry must be posted by 12 p.m. on Wednesday of the week, and your second response or your final responses are due by 12 p.m. on Saturday of that week. So each week you have till 12 on Wednesday to post, and then you have to complete your post by 12 on Saturday. You have to answer 2 questions, and you have to give 2 responses. I hope this is clear. If it's not, I'll show you where to ask questions. So now that we know what's required for the discussion questions, how do you actually respond to discussion questions? In order to respond, you go to Communication, Discussions, and this is the page that comes up. And as you can see, each week has discussions for week 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if you click the discussions for week 1, you have a first section that says Q&A forum. In this forum, you can ask me anything. And then you can check back to see what my response was. Also, your peers can respond to your questions there, because oftentimes they know the answer before and may respond before I do. So that's a weekly thing that's available, and that's probably the fastest way to get me. I'm subscribed to all of the Q&A forums, so as soon as you post a message there, I receive an email, and then I respond as soon as possible. After the Q&A forum, you see the first week's discussion questions. It's about dysfunctional behavior. It says it's graded. Notice the Q&A form is not graded. If you don't have a question for that week, then you don't have to ask a question for that week. But for the weekly discussion questions, they are graded. And you see, it says, while individuals can be dysfunctional, so can families, workplaces, occupations, and neighborhoods. What are some examples of dysfunctional or abnormal workplaces or occupations that fit this description? Describe the features that were dysfunctional, for example, vindictive personnel, chaotic management, rules that keep changing, confusion, blaming, or unethical practices. Notice that many of the discussion questions do not have a right or wrong answer. I'm really interested in having you respond to a question where you apply the information that you've read and the information that you've learned from the other discussion responses. So it's important that prior to you attempting to answer the discussion questions, that you read the chapter. Once you decide you've read the question and you're prepared to answer, then you click on that discussion question. Let me go back. So you click on it and you say start a new thread. I recommend that you always start a new thread with your name so that I know who this answer is coming from, and then your answer. And you might say something like, I won't type all of this out, but Dr. Farmer, the posts this week were very interesting. I think that blah, blah, blah. All right. Typically, thread responses are about, 40 to 50 words, somewhere in that, and it really varies depending on what the question is. But once you type in your answer, you click post, and you see that your post comes up. Dr. Farmer, I just did this today. Now, after you post, remember you have to also respond on a different day. So if after everyone's posted, for example, you'll see about 15 or 20 of these Dr. Farmer things here. You go through and you should read most of them every week. Once you read one that's interesting to you, you want to reply to it. So you click reply and another text box opens. You type your response there and then you click post. And as you can see, I've now responded to my previous response or previous answer to the weekly discussion question. I hope that this has been helpful in allowing you to get started on a very important part of the class, focusing on the discussion questions. So make sure that you go and print the syllabus and that you have that as a springboard for completing the tasks necessary for this class.